Peter Parker. Peter Pepper Parker. Peter Piper picked a pepper.
Pick your brain and put your heart together.
Peter Parker, aka the Amazing Spider-Man. Maybe even your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if you so fancy. Regardless of your preference and nickname, it could be said that Spider-Man is one of the greatest superheroes to ever grace the threshold of entertainment and comic books. I mean shit, everyone loves Spider-Man.
They love me.
And I'm no different, big dog. As a wee young lad, a couple things lingered constantly throughout the hardships of my toddler years. Things like The Sandlot, a movie I've seen no less than 70 times before the age of 6, as well as consuming anything and everything involving Batman, Jennifer Connelly from Ang Lee's Hulk. Boy, don't get me started on a long drawn-out tangent about how Jennifer Connelly ruined the chances of any female being my soulmate if she didn't have pale skin, raven black hair, and was a bit on the taller side. My future baby mama deserves her own separate video for that discussion, so I digress. At the top of my absolute favorite topic, right up there with the Dark Knight himself, was I mean, dude, look at him. He's a guy who swings from webs, beats up the bad guys, has a genius level intellect, and always has the babes flocking towards him in all different hair colors. Every kid's dream was to hopefully get bit by a spider and wake up with web crawling abilities. Much to my dismay, I never ended up with spider abilities, but that didn't deter me from obsessing over the character regardless. My youth was filled with action figures, video games, movies, TV shows, and birthday parties of Spider-Man. Bro, I remember in kindergarten, my friend's dad asked me who my favorite WWE wrestler was, and I said Spider-Man because of the movie.
Hey, Freak Show! You're going nowhere!
Now back then, Spider-Man was easily in a fight for my #1 favorite superhero, but nowadays that spot is more reserved for... Now I will admit that I lost my love for Spider-Man as I got older and semi-grew out of my youthful appreciation of superhero movies. I still love superheroes and comic book movies, but at a far more surface level. It wasn't until my recent discovery in these last 2 years that I learned to appreciate all of my favorite characters in a brand new light, thus reigniting my passion for the webhead once again. With my newfound appreciation and standard I hold superhero movies to, I've been left with this big hole of curiosity as to what Marvel and Sony want to do with Spider-Man next. With multiple rumors and articles about the possibility of multiple Spider-Men holding the mantle at once, I can't help but get my hopes up. I mean, trust me, we're eating good as Spider-Man fans. Across the Spider-Verse, Insomniac Spider-Man 2 are coming in hot this year, and that will surely quench my thirst plenty. But guess what? I'm still hungry for more.
Hey, man. You got something to eat up in there? We hungry.
And I need answers to this mystery item on the menu to satiate this kind of hunger. Seeing as how the world is up in arms about what to do with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I've taken the liberty of presenting you the key to the next installment of the MCU's Spider-Man. I'm updating the menu, so to say. Alright, I'm done with the hunger and thirst jokes. What if I told you the key to making the next Spider-Man movie would be to rely on Spider-Man's love interest, not Peter Parker's? Hold your horses there, desk dweller, because I'm about to blow the top off your teapot. I'm steaming with this one. I gotta stop with these fucking puns, man. Yes, I know you want the symbiote. I know you want Kraven. According to Sony, they think we want a Sinister Six setup as soon as the symbol of a spider leaps onto the silver screen. Holy shit, that was a lot of S's.
5 bars. 5 bars, 5 seconds.
How could I forget, last but not least, a Venom crossover to top it off? But just hear me out for the sake of our sweet boy Peter Parker. Did you enjoy No Way Home? I did. Sure, the first half was some wacky tobacco MCU nonsense, but that second half was probably as impactful as it can get in a Spider-Man movie. Where they left Peter Parker at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home is exactly where I've wanted to see MCU Spider-Man go for years now. Essentially what they did was hit the reset button on Spider-Man and send Peter Parker into the cold depths of New York on his lonesome. No friends, no family, and no identity. All he is Spider-Man. Making the decision to not reintroduce himself into Ned and MJ's life after the spell is cast is the most Spider-Man thing I've seen in a long time. The weight of responsibility and selflessness that constantly lies on Spider-Man's shoulders should not be something that should be disregarded in favor of comedy or just as a setup for the next movie in the grand scheme of things. To continue to take our hero seriously, we must not waste the groundwork that has been established by No Way Home's ending. Do you remember in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 when Peter was having the absolute worst time of his life due to being Spider-Man? He couldn't have the girl of his dreams, maintain friendships, pass his classes, or hold a job, which in turn meant he couldn't pay his rent. And at the peak of all this, he lost his powers due to losing the will to be Spider-Man. Spider-Man caused him all of this pain, so after an internal dilemma, he chose happiness over responsibility and attempted to live a life that he wanted for himself, therefore choosing Peter Parker over Spider-Man. Sure, this could simply be chalked up to an existential crisis stuff, but to me it's much more than that. He's not just giving up the suit, he's deciding to abandon the ideals and foundations that Uncle Ben instilled into him. I hate to be that guy to say this, but let's get it out of the way. With great power comes great responsibility. They all said it, or some version of it, and it couldn't ring truer. And every time Spider-Man was beaten down by life and was forced to endure true loss, he rose back up and showed us all what it meant to be a hero. Which is important, especially now that our young Peter Parker is all alone. It's unique to see Peter on his own with nothing but the ideals and lessons he's learned from his loved ones. This is very different from the prior two Spider-Men because they never truly lost everything and anything they ever loved. That's not to say they didn't suffer a great ordeal, because trust me, there's been plenty of loss and heartbreak. But to have a Spider-Man start his new journey with absolutely nothing is uncharted water. Without anyone to fall on or reach out to for guidance and wisdom is truly a unique dynamic that I want to see exploited and expanded on. Where do you even take Spider-Man from here? More importantly, where do you take Peter Parker from here? Let me ask you this. After the events of No Way Home, why would Spider-Man want to be Peter Parker? I know you think I asked you that backwards, but no. Think about it. Peter loses Aunt May, who if you ask me is the foundation of him being Spider-Man. We see this when Peter almost kills the Green Goblin, thus proving that his foundations have been shaken and damaged to their core. He also loses the love of his life and best friend when Doctor Strange casted a spell that made everyone forget who Peter Parker was, which was just the icing on Peter's crap cake. You can't tell me that the void left behind Peter Parker can easily be shrugged off in a matter of seconds and fixed with a few jokes. That's not to say I don't want to see him make some more quips and witty remarks, because I've always appreciated that about the character, and my favorite reasoning for this comes from Insomniac's Spider-Man.
Damn it! This is all your fault, Norman, you son of a...
Well, I know who you're not voting for in the next election. Sorry. I have a habit of making bad jokes in tense situations.
I don't think I'm wrong in saying that getting a more adult take on Peter Parker makes him more relatable and brings out one of the best qualities in the character. Just look at what Insomniac's Spider-Man and Into the Spider-Verse showed us about the character if we allowed him to age and tackle adult problems. I've always been able to relate to Spider-Man's pain in some way or another. I watch Pete get his world torn apart, and I watch him get back up and show me what intestinal fortitude and responsibility are all about. So, I'm asking them to let me feel that darkness that looms over Peter like a darkened rain cloud. I want to see our hero turn to the only thing that can take his mind off of the pain and suffering, by being Spider-Man and attempting to forget about Peter Parker, just like the rest of the world has, which makes it all the more unique to see a Spider-Man with a weakened foundation and a crisis in his identity. In these times of turmoil, you would expect him to fall back on the ideologies and morals that his mentors and loved ones have instilled into him. But this is where the real story can begin. You introduce a new character that can further fuel this grease fire of a problem that Peter has. Black Cat is literally a perfect fit for this situation. You have Peter on this quarter-life crisis where being Spider-Man doesn't really bring him joy anymore, nor does it do too well as a coping mechanism. So when you introduce this mystery woman into his life, it's like a breath of fresh air. It brings life back into that new Spidey suit. The chase is somehow fun again. He knows he has to stop Felicia, but there's something about her that keeps him intrigued. She has her flaws, but that doesn't mean she isn't worth trying to save from the life she's trying to lead. Having Spider-Man chase after Black Cat is the dark mirror to Peter chasing MJ. Now, I'm not an MJ hater, nor do I belong to an anti-Peter and MJ club, but I can't deny that Peter being intrigued and dare I say lustful over a slightly older, mysterious woman is one of the most adult things I can imagine for the character. Not just for the sake of a rebound, but for the sheer fact that it takes his mind off of rebuilding Peter Parker and allows him to possibly save someone else. Maybe it's harmless at first. Maybe it is a good thing he runs into Black Cat. Our boy has probably been awfully lonely since moving into his New York studio apartment. Slowly but surely, this web of lust and comfort proves to be the true antithesis to Peter's foundation for being Spider-Man. Now, I'm not saying Black Cat has to be a villain, nor am I saying that she's a bad person. The purpose I'd like for her to serve in Spider-Man 4 is to be able to tell us something about Peter Parker's character and test his moral standing. Let her add to the problem that eventually leads Peter to realize that simply being Spider-Man isn't what makes Spider-Man. Now, this isn't the Hawk Diesel's version of If I Wrote Spider-Man 4. I mean, if you want that video, make sure to let me know down below. I am simply suggesting what bringing the character of Black Cat could do for the webhead moving forward. Because if we allow Spider-Man to grow and face the adversity that comes with life as he gets older, the longevity of the character can grow along with his audience. Make no mistake, I am well aware that the target audience is not for 25-year-old me, but the kids that are growing up with Tom Holland's Spider-Man definitely deserve to see the growth of the hero along with themselves. To me, man versus self is such an underutilized dynamic in these modern-day superhero flicks. I crave those old Spider-Man movies for what they did so long ago. I didn't appreciate them as a kid, but now I really do as an adult. I yearn for the days of seeing Peter have the absolute worst time of his life and give up on his responsibility only to get back up. I want to see Peter pursuing Gwen even though he could put her in harm's way. To me, that's just so adult and very human. I just want to feel the weight that comes with making decisions as Spider-Man and the consequences that come with them. Because as I get older, I realize more and more that my heroes had all the answers to the lessons I had yet to learn, which is why I'm so passionate about discussing my heroes to this day and at this age. To me, the best form of art is not only something that makes me feel some type of way, but leaves me captivated for years to come.
I just finally realized something. I'm not like you. I can't live the life that you do. My powers came with a responsibility, and I need the balance of a normal life. Being Spider-Man is who I am, but being just me, that's who I am too.
I've talked your ear off long enough. If you liked the video, please consider dropping a like, and honestly, I'd love to hear some of your ideas for the next Spider-Man, whether it be a villain, a specific story arc, or maybe just what you'd like to see. Let me know down below. Thank you for watching. More to come, as always.
I don't make no moves unless my heart is in it. Everything had changed when my mind started shifting.